The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. Today and tomorrow are yet to be said.
Hello everyone, No One of Consequence here, back again with a new video. This is episode 51 in a series which recounts my ongoing Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which is now in its 10th year. So as always, spoiler alert, in this video I will be revealing details found in this adventure module. And just as a reminder, this is the current composition of the adventuring party. So where we left off last time, the characters had returned to the Fire Giant's Great Hall to see if Varys's hallucinatory terrain spell was still in effect, and therefore if their presence was still undetected. And so they found that the spell was still in effect, and that's represented by that green line there on the map. However, before attacking the Great Hall, Varys suddenly decided that he wanted to try out his new Animate Dead spell. And the dead gnolls that the party had just defeated made the perfect candidates for that. So based on the spell description and the level restrictions, Varys was able to animate 4 of the gnolls, turning them into zombies under his command. Now, meanwhile, Niobe, the cleric, strongly disapproved of this whole thing and wanted nothing to do with it. However, she decided to just let it go for the time being because she realized that she could destroy the zombie gnolls at any time just by turning them. So instead of returning back to the Great Hall at the far western end, where Varys's illusion was located, the characters decided to just go straight south from the Gnoll Room, and this route would bring them to the Great Hall at the midpoint instead of at the far western end. So, using the silence torch to mask their approach, the characters saw a fire giant guard posted just inside the Great Hall. So Varys ordered 3 of his zombie gnolls to attack the fire giant sentry, and one of them to protect Gorbadoc. And even though he had a zombie guard, Gorbadoc decided to put on his ring of invisibility anyway. And Aramis, meanwhile, moved up to help the other zombie gnolls attack the fire giant. And Obrak prepared to charge directly into King Snurry's throne chamber. So once Obrak had charged into the throne chamber, Thorol used his Wand of Frost to create a Wall of Ice spell. Back at with that fire giant guard, amazingly, multiple critical hits were scored against that guard in the first combat round, including some of the attacks by Varys' zombie gnolls. And also, just before Thorol deployed that Wall of Ice, Garrett threw a javelin of lightning at King Snurry and scored a direct hit. Garrett had acquired that javelin from those chambers of the fire giant couple who had been using the same weapons against the characters earlier. So due to all those critical hits, the fire giant sentry went down quickly before the nearby Ettins even had time to react to what was going on. But finally, the Ettins began responding to the attack and moved to confront the characters, and also fire giants stationed around King Snurry in the east began moving up as well. The fire several of the fire giant guards began surrounding Obrak, pointed out there on the screenshot, so as to protect King Snurry. And unfortunately, Obrak took a massive critical hit from one of those fire giants, and to make matters worse, there were hellhounds there, and they began attacking him as well. And at the end of this single combat round, Obrak was stunned and lying on the floor with only 3 hit points remaining. So back in the main area, Varys, Aramis, and Niobe began fighting with the Ettins, and Thorol broke out a Halloween reward item, which he owned, the Witch's Broom, and you can see the description for that there on the screen. And at the same time that was going on, Gorbadoc, who was still invisible, crept along the southern wall, and the fire giants, some of King Snurry's fire giant guards, began hacking away at Thorol's wall of ice. There on the far left-hand side, Aramis defeated one of the Ettins, while in the center, Thorol flew up into the air on his broom. And Varys' zombie gnolls engaged the fire giants and the hellhounds, which had finally broken down Thorol's wall of ice. Meanwhile, Gorbadoc and Garrett, who was now invisible too, rushed over to help Obrak. Obrak was still stunned and lying motionless on the ground due to the critical hit he had received. But the fire giants, when Obrak dropped to the ground, the fire giants thought he was dead. So they had stopped attacking him and had moved on to confront the other characters. From his vantage point on his broom high up in the air, Thorol used that wand of frost to cast a cone of cold down onto King Snurry and his guards. And then next round, Thorol flew even higher into the air and fired off another cone of cold, this time almost straight down onto the fire giant guards. And since they were unable to reach Thorol, the fire giant guards and the hellhounds continued to focus on fighting Varys' gnoll zombies, which are pointed out there on the map. And back over in the east, Gorbadoc gave to Obrak a Christmas reward item. He was carrying a fruitcake of the gods, and you can read the description there on the screenshot, but the effect was that it immediately restored Obrak back to full health. Meanwhile, seeing everything that was going on, King Snurry himself fled to the back wall of his throne room and activated a secret door there. And it's hard to see, but you can see a passageway is opened up there on the far right-hand side. Over on the other side of the Great Hall, the other characters who were there continued to fight the fire giant guards, the hellhounds, and the Ettins. There on the far right-hand side, pointed out, Gorbadoc ran after King Snurry, but the secret door closed again behind King Snurry before Gorbadoc could follow him through. However, Gorb did see how King Snurry had activated that secret door, and he did so by pulling on that torch sconce mounted on the wall next to it. But of course, since that torch is mounted high up on the wall, as in fire giant height, Gorb could not reach it. Back in the center, Obrak, who is now healed and back on his feet, defeated another one of the fire giant guards with Garrett's help. And back on the far end, Varys, Niobe, and Aramis continued to fight other fire giant guards. However, unfortunately, Varys' dog, Spuds Mackenzie, was hit by a fire giant and he dropped to the floor. Varys, pointed out there on the far left-hand side, applied a bandage to Spuds, which is a thing I have in my game. You can bandage for some small amount of healing, up to a maximum of 3. And in order to actually save the dog's life, Varys needed to roll a 3 on a 1d3 in order to save him. And I don't have the chat window in the screenshot, and I always let characters roll for that sort of thing themselves, but Varys succeeded. He rolled a 3 on a 1d3 and managed to save Spuds' life. And then at the opposite end, where they're on the far right-hand side pointed out, Gorbadoc tried to climb up the carvings in the rock wall so that he could activate that torch lever and reopen the secret door. But unfortunately, he failed the dexterity check and fell back down to the ground. Gorb tried a second time and finally succeeded in reaching and activating the secret door. But by now, precious time had passed, giving King Snurry more time to escape. Back on the opposite end, fighting continued against the fire giant guards. You can see Varys and Niobe and Aramis there. And meanwhile, in the center, Obrak and Garrett finally finished off the last of the Hellhounds. And then on the far right-hand side, pointed out, Gorbadoc decided to go ahead and enter the secret passageway that King Snurry had disappeared into. And at some point, or at this particular point during the fighting, Niobe was reduced down to exactly 0 hit points, which meant she was unconscious, but Thorol used a healing potion to get her back on her feet. Obrak and Garrett had joined Gorbadoc in exploring the secret passageway, and although they did not find King Snurry, they did find at the end of the relatively short tunnel a lever mounted high up on the wall. And again, none of them could reach the lever because it was high enough up on the wall to be convenient for a fire giant. However, Obrak used his immense strength to toss Gorbadoc up into the air so that he could grab onto the lever, and Gorbadoc succeeded at that, and his weight hanging from that lever caused it to depress, and the result was that another secret door opened in the southern wall just off the screen to the bottom of that screenshot. So Gorbadoc, who was still invisible, stepped through the secret door and into what appeared to be a very opulent bedroom. However, there was no sign of King Snurry in here, but Gorb did notice several more hellhounds in the far western end of this room. So Gorb and the others decided to quietly back out of this room and return to the rest of the party before the hellhounds noticed their presence here. Once everyone was back in the now cleared out throne room, Garrett realized that there was a hallway concealed behind a heavy curtain on the south wall, and you can see that pointed out here. And since Garrett was still invisible, it was decided that he would cautiously explore the passageway leading to the southeast, with Obrak standing just inside to help keep watch. And it wasn't long before Garrett came running back up the passageway, closely pursued by a pack of hellhounds, which in turn were followed by more fire giants. And you may recall from the last video that hellhounds can easily detect invisible creatures, and once even one of them gets on the scent, then the others will follow. So, seeing what was going on, Varys quickly cast another hallucinatory terrain spell to create the illusion of a chasm on the floor. However, the hellhounds were running so quickly that they didn't have time to stop short, and once they touched the illusion, then it immediately disappeared. So, since the party was by now out of spells and very low on healing, they decided to try and just flee the fire giant lair and return back to their hideout cave. So the characters fled back down the entrance passageway and towards the doors leading back outside. And once everyone was well along the way, Thorol stopped and used his Wand of Frost once again, this time to cast a Wall of Ice spell in the hallway. And this barricade slowed the pursuing hellhounds and fire giants long enough for the characters to escape back outside and disappear to their hideout cave. So, concerned that the fire giants might send out patrols to look for them, the characters decided to set double shifts for the overnight watch. And here you can see Gorbadoc and Varys taking their turn at guard duty while the others sleep. Alright, well that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't, please consider subscribing to the channel. And also, please, above all else, if you can, leave a comment and let me know what you think of the video. It seems that videos which receive more comments tend to get more views. And also, if you can, share the video anywhere where you think other people might enjoy it. And as always, anything you can do to help support the channel, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye for now.
The greatest adventure is what